It's been almost 2 years since we hacked our way through Chicago in the first WatchDogs game back in 2014. A lot of promises were made, few of them were actually fulfilled. Did Ubisoft listen to the criticism, or does the second installment in the franchise fall flat?
Commencing restart in 3, 2, 1.
WatchDogs' story provides a stark contrast to the original, rather grey and cliché-filled narrative surrounding Aiden Pierce. Players step into the shoes of Marcus Holloway, an up-and-coming hacker eager to join the notorious hacktivist group DedSec. The ultimate goal of DedSec, and the reason why Marcus decided to join the hacker group, is to take down Bloom, an evil mass surveillance corporation controlling whole cities through its all-encompassing city operating system, CTOS. The main antagonist of the game is the head and CTO of Bloom, Dusan Nemetz. He defies all clichés and tropes of a classical gaming villain and does not rely on direct violence, but rather uses the powers given to him by CTOS to fight his enemies.
Tell me everything you know about DedSec.
It's a shame that Marcus' backstory is merely hinted at, and his motivations for taking down Bloom are never quite thoroughly explored. The same can be said about the rest of the colorful DedSec ensemble. The characters' backstories and relationships could be fleshed out more, and some characters may seem too over the top at first glance. However, the more time you spend with these lovable psychos and genius hackers, the more apparent it becomes that the chemistry between the DedSec members is spot on and carefully balanced out. From the metropolitan high-tech, high-society cities of San Francisco and Palo Alto to the gang-infested project buildings of Oakland, WatchDogs' world is filled with details, astounding sights, and a lot of things to do. Marcus' animations feel incredibly smooth, the drawing distance can make for some impressive views, and the lightning effects can alter the whole look and feel of the world during sunset. However, visuals and performance are not perfect. The lightning effects can get out of hand at some points. Some pop-in effects may occur while driving, and tearing is visible during fast camera movements. The usually stable frame rate can take a dip during online missions. And like in any other open world game, you will encounter more than enough weird open world glitches. WatchDogs' soundtrack is solid, but very limited. Get ready to hear the same songs over and over again. This is especially sad considering that Marcus can also listen to music while he's out of a vehicle. The sound effects are solid as well, although some cars and gadgets can make very weird noises.
Watch out!
Damn maniac!
At the core of WatchDogs' gameplay are its hacking mechanics. They can best be summarized by going through a typical hacking process during a main story mission where Marcus usually has to infiltrate an enemy stronghold. The remote-controlled quadcopter is a real game changer and can be used as a recon device. It gives the player a new perspective on the surroundings and encourages a thoughtful and strategic approach to every mission. The remote-controlled jumper acts as a perfect ground-based counterpart for the drone. It's able to squeeze through tight gaps and gain access to unreachable areas to pick up various collectibles and perform physical hacks. A lot of hacking mechanics make a return from the first game. Marcus can hack cameras through line of sight to peek inside enemy territory, he can hack steam pipes and generators, or set up explosives and shock devices to stun or kill enemies. Or play defensively by distracting enemies through distress signals or massive system hacks to sneak past them. There are also some interesting new hacking techniques to be found. For example, Marcus can take control of surrounding vehicles, cranes and lifts to cause confusion or to gain access to previously unreachable areas.
Local units code 2. Suspect is implicated in the murder of an SFPD officer. Proceed with extreme caution.
One of the most interesting new abilities is to hack into the police database to forge evidence on an unsuspecting target and let the cops do the dirty work for you. Some hackable objects are protected by closed circuits that have to be physically hacked by Marcus or his RC jumper. Network bypasses are the most interesting security measures. They are essentially little pipe puzzles integrated into the surroundings, and they break up the pace of the usual hacking in a good way. While driving, Marcus also has the ability to hack into the city infrastructure to outrun his pursuers. The game does a good job ensuring that there are always multiple ways to complete a mission. However, it would be nice if the game really forced the player to try different strategies from time to time, because you might find yourself getting too comfortable using the same hacking combos over and over again. It's a shame that the game doesn't tackle the dissonance between the sometimes very violent gameplay options and the lighthearted narrative in a more forthcoming way. Shooting and killing enemies, or even innocent NPCs, stands in stark contrast to Marcus' character and the noble values that DedSec represents.
They're setting schools, clinics, stores as shoot on sight? That's subsidized housing. I mean, those people got priced out of San Francisco. Where the fuck else are they supposed to go?
This feels like a missed opportunity, as the game has a very clever progression system that would have been perfect to tackle this dissonance head on. The progression system is very simple and very clever. To gain access to more advanced hacking techniques for Marcus, DedSec needs to gain followers and generate app downloads so that they can tap into the processing power of said followers. Every main mission you complete will gain you a substantial amount of followers. Every side mission, every race, every online mission, every selfie you take will also reward you with new followers. This makes you feel like everything you do in the game actually contributes significantly to your overall progress. This follower mechanic would have been a great tool to punish GTA-inspired gameplay options and narrow the gap between story and gameplay. Kill some innocent NPCs, lose a couple of thousand followers. It could be as simple as that.
This is gonna cost us a lot of followers.
Aside from gaining followers, the player can also find so-called research points scattered all over the map to learn new hacking mechanics. Getting these points feels like a puzzle and is usually harder than it may seem at first glance. WatchDogs' map is essentially designed to distract the player at every corner, because these research points will only be visible on your map once Marcus is standing very close to them. The same can be said about collectibles, loot, and some side missions and races. You never quite know what kind of surprises and hidden treasures will cross your path when you're just simply driving from point A to point B. Side missions can range from very dull missions to surprisingly substantial experiences that introduce the player to new gameplay mechanics outside of main missions. Online missions are the most generic of the bunch, but since you're playing against or with real humans, they offer a refreshing take on the hacking mechanics. The seamless multiplayer is great and serves as yet another element in the design of this world that will try to distract you. Outside of missions, there are a number of races Marcus can take part in. The drone and e-cart races are especially great as they are tied into the narrative and fit the world perfectly.
Alright, you have a drone. You gotta see how fast you can go, man.
The yacht races can feel out of place, but they are admittedly epic in nature and serve as a great break from the main storyline. The most generic and not well thought out are the off-road races that are just thrown at the player without any real context. The controls in Watch Dogs 2 are, for the most part, reliable and logical. Performing hacking combos and sneaking past enemies feels incredibly rewarding and intuitive. However, there are some issues that occur from time to time. Weapon combat can feel clunky at times. For example, controlling the stun launcher is a real pain, as you never know if firing the weapon could kill Marcus because the enemy is too close to him. Parkouring and jumping can feel incredibly good when the mechanics work. You never quite know if Marcus will climb up that ledge or jump over that gap, which can be very frustrating at times. Camera controls can be a pain as well. Most of the times you can position the camera to see what's directly beneath or above Marcus or his RC vehicles, which is very annoying because hackable objects oftentimes are in that area. Driving controls can feel unnatural. During off-road sections they feel especially weird, unresponsive and glitchy at times. Oh, and the NPCs are by far the most annoying NPCs in any open world game thus far when it comes to jumping in front of your car. In conclusion, Watch Dogs 2 is a great game, but it's by far not a perfect game.
What the fuck?
Watch Dogs is at its best when it forces the player to come up with an elaborate hacking strategy rather than going in guns blazing and being just another cover-based shooter. The minor problems with the controls, camera and soundtrack can ultimately be forgiven. However, it's a shame that the game didn't put a greater emphasis on storytelling and narrowing the gap between the story and the sometimes violent gameplay.